Kurama and Xemnas.
All right, a chair all of my own. I love it.
Wherever you'd like to sit.
Thank you so much.
Well, we're glad to have you here.
Thank you. Product placement.
That's right, send the check. Send the check.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for being here.
So, Mr. Paul, I've been a personal fan myself and followed your journey a little bit throughout. And so who is Paul St. Pete? Who are you? Who's the man behind the characters?
Well, as I like to explain to people, I'm really a disembodied voice. We're not real human beings. We're not, we're just actors that are voiced, because we're often treated that way, actually. Paul St. Peter was born in Fargo, North Dakota. No kidding. I was raised in San Diego. I've been in Los Angeles about 40 years. I have a theater and musical theater and opera background, accent, dialect specialist. I've taught at 5 universities, but I never went to college. I hated school, so I didn't want to keep going to college, and the thing is, everything I ever learned privately, my accent work, my speech work, all of this, every instructor has been so impressed with me, they've asked me to come in and work with them. And so I found myself on the staff of Los Angeles Broadcasting School, teaching at San Diego State University. I'm brought in by college professors who are, their majors, their doctorates are in drama, but they can't do all the things I do. So they bring me in.
The specialist.
Yes, a specialist, and it's kind of awkward because, as I say, I've never been to college, and so I walk onto a university campus, and the guy that brought me in has got his doctorate, and again, doesn't know how to do the things I do. So I go in, and I carry a briefcase, and I try to look all professional, but I'm still checking over my shoulder. Any moment now, somebody's going to bust me. The credential police are going to show up. Because I didn't go to college, so I don't have a teaching credential. I don't have a degree or anything. But as a teacher, because I have specialized skills, I just tell people now, I am a guest instructor. That's the best way to do it. That way I feel a lot better about not having the scholarship and the 4 years and the, as they call it, the alphabet soup after my name. A BS in this or whatever. One way that I kind of help myself feel better and sort of helps me as a person too is remembering what a fellow actor told me. I was oddly, back when I lived in North Hollywood, I didn't have, of course, a washer and dryer. So I was out doing my laundry, and I see this other guy that I met, and I was telling him about my dilemma. I said, I feel really awkward. I'm not sure what to do. He says, well, listen, Paul, you got to remember that a BS is exactly that. And an MS means more of the same. And a PhD means it's piled higher and deeper. He said, you know how to do these things, just go in and do the job, don't worry about it. That's where I came up with the idea that I just need to go ahead and call myself a guest instructor and not worry about anybody asking me, where did you go, who did you study with, and all that sort of thing. Clearly I do what I do well as a teacher, but again, it's just something I never intended to do. So Paul St. Peter, the person, the man, is someone who never meant to be a teacher, but always wanted to be an actor, and I am. So there, I'm good with all that.
And so, I'm going so far as to say not discrediting anybody with their PhD or anything like that. So your extensive career and the fact that you've actually been teaching at a college and everything like that, who's been a favorite character of yourself that you it shouldn't be your favorite character, but the one that you thoroughly enjoyed playing, and if you could do it all over again.
Well, it's a tie between two characters from my favorite because they're apples and oranges. Very, very different. Let's see. Yeah, they're both on the screen behind me. You see the cowboy?
Yes, I see that.
Cowboy Bebop, that's Punch from Cowboy Bebop.
Nice.
And Wormmon from Digimon.
And there you have it in an unexpected twist.
Yes, love that Wormmon. Wormmon was the sweetest, cutest, nicest, most pathetic, sad, little lovable guy that you just wanted to pick up and take care of, right? That's what he was. Because he was so put upon and so upset all the time. So there was a lot of heart in that character. There was a lot to play. The writing was wonderful too. Punch, on the other hand, was the weirdest character I've ever played. I was approached by the executive producer of that production because he was given what they normally are given, the list of characters and what are called the breakdowns, okay? The breakdown of a character essentially says he's 32 years old, he's been a warrior for 10 years now, and he's just becoming a commander. And yet he lacks confidence, and so they'll give you a little bit of background of who the person is and what's going on with them. From there, you need to come up with the voice, do the performance for the audition, that sort of thing. Well, when the exec, whose name was Kevin, called me up, he said, well, they gave me a breakdown of this character, and you were the only one I could think of. I said, oh, well, what is it? They said, well, they said he needs to sound Mexican, but he needs to sound Texan also. And he's black. And I thought for a second, and you thought of me. Now, one reason he did was because I'm a dialectician, and I'm an accent specialist, and I'm a linguist. Okay, these are all self-studied things again. I never went to college.
Don't go tell anybody.
Pinky swear, everybody.
Pinky swear now and for now.
Paul St. Peter goes, never tell anyone, pinky swear. But he knows I do the accents and the dialects. So he said, can you do two accents at one time? And I said, no, you can't do two accents at the same time, but I will change accents in the middle of a sentence for you. And that's why Punch sounds so weird. Our greeting, which we created, it was not on the script. Mary Elizabeth and I created the greeting that we had at the beginning of the show, which is, shucks howdy, how y'all doing? Okay, so I begin by saying, shucks howdy, in one accent, and I go, how y'all doing, like a cowboy, to finish up. And I would change in the middle of a sentence at various different places, and it was up to me when to do it. I would say, if this one here's a real doozy. Adios, mi compañeros, you know. No, the Spanish I learned, oh, thank you. The Spanish I learned, and the accent that I was using there was the Chicano accent from living in San Diego all those years, okay? As opposed to the one I've been hearing in Los Angeles for a long time. ¿Qué onda? ¿Qué puedo? ¿Cuál es su problema? ¿Qué onda, negrito, eh? So being in LA, I picked up the Cholo. But the one that I used was what I was hearing all those years in San Diego. And so they said, we want you to sound this way and then sound this way. So that's what I threw out there. And Mary was telling me that she and Kevin would get together and they would review material. In the film industry, they used to be called rushes, or they call dailies sometimes now. Or they will go ahead and get all the people together, director, producer, actors, and all that, and watch what they shot that day. How does it look to you? Do we need to redo it? Is the lighting good? Etc.
Perspective from
a handful. And so if they're making any mistakes, they can turn around and fix them, you know, or just reset everything. And so they would get together, and Mary was telling me, yeah, Kevin would kind of chuckle at some other things, you know, if he heard something funny, he would kind of go, haha, funny. But every time he heard your stuff, he was doubled over laughing. because it was and still is to this day the weirdest I've done. I have to say apples and oranges, and can't pick a favorite because they're so different. And just in terms of heart, it would be definitely Wormmon. In terms of just something strange that we had the most insane fun with, absolutely Punch, yeah.
Well, that's great. I mean, now you know you can go to your local barrio and pick up an accent to be a voice actor now.
I'm your guy.
So, that's okay. So not having any specific character as your favorite, being apples and oranges. I would have to say now, I mean, like, hobbies, I mean, you're a mean, tough character player, because Kurama, evil in the beginning, White Zetsu, evil throughout practically the whole series. Xemnas, I'm a fair Kingdom Hearts player myself.
Okay, cool, thank you. Thank
So
you.
that's
Kingdom Hearts, yes.
any Kingdom Hearts?
Absolutely.
Kingdom Hearts players out there? Yeah,
Keep
exactly.
the faith, man, keep the faith. 4 will come out someday.
And along with all of those great characters, picking up 2 different accents to play one, I mean, does your hobby revolve around your work as well, or you have specific things you like to do in your free time?
You would have to say that an actor, part of what an actor does has to do with hobbies. These are things that you're maintaining on a regular basis. But I like woodworking. I am a pretty damn good cook. When I go to Yamacon in December, I go early in the week before the con because I cook for the staff and everybody.
Look at that, such a wholehearted man.
Well, for them, my name tag says Uncle Paul. So I take care of them that way. I get together, I bring the ingredients, they go and pick other things for me, and then I get together and cook for staff and volunteers and my handlers and stuff like that. I do like reading and studying. It's a big thing with me.
Read any of your own work? Read manga?
If I'd ever written anything, I would actually read it out loud. Also, I go down to Baja California and I fish in a place called Bahia de Los Angeles. I tell people I leave Los Angeles to go to Los Angeles. But I still own the record for my family, the biggest fish caught.
Nice.
I caught a 90-pound grouper. This was some years ago over the 4th of July weekend. And people fish all their lives and never see one grouper. I caught 2 in one day, including the big one. If you look on my Facebook under Renee St. Peter, which is my middle name, you will see a picture of me holding that fish. But that's another thing I do. I like to travel. I like to travel different places around the world, and the fishing is a great thing. But if I was going to nail it down, I would say cooking and traveling are the 2 biggest things I do.
Cooking and traveling would be the one. And as you said, you cook for the other convention holders and for their staff and all that. What is it that you toss up for them?
Well, me, I got to say, because I'm from a French-Canadian, the background, the French-Canadian background, when my people, they come from up there in French Canada, what they call Quebec, and places like that, they was called way back then Acadians.
Acadians.
Yeah, and that's what there's pure French. Pure French was a Canadian or Quebecois. The thing is, when my people went all over the place and settled in different areas, one of them they settled in was down in Nolens. And Acadian got shortened to Cadian and eventually became Cajun. So that's why when you hear that Cajun sound that I do, me, I gonna cook jambalaya. Me, I gonna cook the dirty rice. Me, I gonna cook the macaroni, all that stuff. So when I cook for them down there, me, I gonna make it spicy. Me, I gonna make it big. Me, I gonna make it a lot. And I'm gonna make something. It's gonna be good with beer. That's the way I set that up. But that's the Cajun
So
talk.
that goes the origin story for Food cooked in Louisiana as well. Then
Yeah, and that's one thing I love. I adore history. You know, people
That's
find
amazing.
it boring. Sorry, I love it. It has to do with linguistics.
you learn something new every day.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, otherwise I'm useless, but at least you got to learn about Cajun studies.
I believe far from that. So, as an active gamer myself, and I'm sure as the audience, I've seen we had some active hands out there for Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
Taking it further back, how, now whether it's true or not, did you partake in Soul Calibur?
No,
You did not.
no, I did not partake.
Okay, because I thought I had read something about that, and I had to clarify that right now because Soul Calibur, fan favorite here.
Oh, Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur
I
5.
thought you said Soul Academy.
No. Soul Calibur.
No, okay, Soul Calibur, I was the narrator, I should say, did the narration for Soul Calibur 5 and 6.
The more you know.
And in my opinion, 6 was the better written one. For me, anyway, as a narrator, it was much better. Yeah, it was cleaned up a little bit. Scriptwriters learn as they go too. A series often will get better a lot of times. Same actors and same action, same everything, and you wonder what changed. The scripts got better. It's often the case. I was the narrator for 5, and the client, as we call them, the owners, you might say, of the property, contacted the studio and said, "Can you get that guy back?" And they called me, I said, "Sure, no problem." The voice that I used was not the one that they were asking for when I auditioned. One thing to do as an actor, if you go into an audition and they want you to try this, want you to try that, they'll have a couple of ideas. If something strikes you as a good idea for a voice for that character, or you just want to try something new, ask. Now, a lot of times they go, "No, we don't have any time," and they don't, you know. But these are studios that people have known for years. They know me and respect me, so if I ask, they know I won't waste their time either. So I was saying, you know, lines like, you know, in the beginning when the warriors were created and this blah, 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 or whatever the dialogue might be. They wanted to try it a couple of different ways. And so I did both ways. And I thought, I have an idea though. I said, "May I try it? Another one?" I said, "Sure." So I said, "In the beginning, when the warriors were created." And they thought, yeah, I thought this would sound better with the Xemnas voice would sound a lot better. And they liked it so much, they took my audition and put it on YouTube. Just straight up and just put it for the trailer for the game. And I loved that there were, you know, people were in the comments, so you just scroll and scroll on the comments. I loved it. I got about 3/4 of the way down. One of them said, "Is it just me or does it sound like Xemnas is narrating this?" But that's what I did. I took
I've been caught.
Yeah, that's what I chose to do as an actor. I took a chance, and that's the one that they picked, you know.
But you see, that's the reason why your extensive career and reasons why people call you, because on the fly, as you chose Xemnas to voice the narrator for Soul Calibur, that's pretty impressive. That's very impressive, actually, because being that, I mean, the way to be able to recycle it into a totally different aspect, because Kingdom Hearts and Soul Calibur, fantasy, but far different.
Well, yeah, for what I have as the narrator using that voice, I don't use it in the same way as I do leaving us, leaving us, leaving us, leaving. When somebody new comes in, by the way, we have to say, one of us, or 2 or 3. A little story there. I did the very first convention ever in Darwin, Australia. 2 of us, 2 of us, 2 of us, 1 of us, 2 of us, leaving us, leaving us. They had never had a con there. Now, those of you who know the scene, Australia is a very, very busy convention country. Got a lot of cons. There are tons of them.
Have you there with conventions like that?
Tons of them. But Darwin is far, far away from everything. Remember, you can be in Australia and say they have a lot of cons, but the closest one will be 2,000 miles, 3,000, 4,000 miles away from you. It's just a big old continent, right? So I get to Darwin, and remember, these folks have never had a convention, okay? There were tons of them. They were cosplayers, they were great fans, but they don't know the culture like you guys, okay? So I say, drum roll, please. What do you do?
Drummo, baby.
That's right. You guys are on it, right? So for some reason I had to introduce something or whatever, but I said, oh, look at this. Drum roll, please. And they all...
Crickets.
I said, oh, let me do it. So I taught them to do the chair and the feet and all that stuff. But that was the first time they ever came across that, because as many as there were that wanted to have a con and to cosplay and do all this stuff, there was no place for them to go, so they were hungry for it. And so I taught them that, and I taught them the man-sex story also. So I'm gonna crack them up on that one.
Sorry, you threw me for a while there. But man, that's crazy. I didn't know Australia, big into it, but not so much into it like that. Besides hobbies and everything else. Do we have any questions from the audience? Anybody feel like asking, talking to Kurama, talking to Xemnas, talking to...
Oh yes, absolutely. Characters or my career or stories or...
Because he is a woodworker.
Yeah, or the business,
chef.
whatever, about like we're on strike right now about certain things or questions you want to ask.
And if you like to, we got our mic up there.
Yeah, oh, thank you, good idea. Yeah. Now make sure you speak into the mic like this, because it's amazing. People are given a microphone, and they start doing stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Practically on the ground, so yeah.
How's it like voicing your characters for the show of Naruto? You know, Kurama.
How was it like, you say?
How's it like to voice your character, Kurama?
How was it like to voice your character for Kurama?
Okay. Kurama was always a challenge. Kurama has always been a kind of a stretch. It's one of my favorite voices to do. And luckily for myself and for everyone in the cast, it has always been well written. So generally speaking, it's been a joy. I've been very happy with the scripts over the years. The manga has fed us a wonderful character arc, a wonderful story arc, and the writing has always been very complimentary of that. It's been a terrific thing, and I miss it so bad.
I was about to say, along with that amazing feeling, how much did the heartache hurt? Because I know for all us Naruto fans, when we saw that episode of Boruto, or you read the manga.
Has anyone not seen the ending of my guy? Anyone in the room? Okay, so let's not spoil it any further.
So,
But that's why sometimes when I autograph the pops, people would like a quote. Oh, give me your favorite quote, but I have to ask them because I don't want to ruin it for them. 6 of us, 6 of us, 6 of us, 6 of us. The nice thing is when you join us, you then get to do that with the rest of them. So I taught them that in Australia too, but it's different because the dialect is, they were saying instead of 2 of us, they were going 2 of us, 2 of us. I did it in Ireland too. I was doing at the University of Limerick, Go Wolves, the University of Limerick in Ireland, and we had people kept walking in, I kept saying, 1 of us, 1 of us. So it looked a bit strange, and I said, yeah, do that when anybody ever comes into a room late, you know. And then they all would turn, but then they said, 2 of us, 2 of us, 2 of us. Because in Ireland it's just a bit different. To speak English, sort of, you know.
We have another question over here, Primos.
So Texas is kind of considered like the mecca of like voice acting. You have like Funimation that is now Crunchyroll Studios here. You have a lot of voice actors that come directly from Texas. And I know a lot of people here who are very talented, friends of mine who are very talented, people that I've known that want to get into voice acting, what would be the key thing that you would give advice for them in order to try to break into voice acting? What would be some things they should do?
Well, my single bit of advice is don't. And now, I'm not saying that to be a snot. I'm a snot, but I'm not trying to be a snot, okay? Because what you're really asking is, I want to become an actor. And my advice to anyone is don't do that. It's a thankless, cold business, and voice acting is acting. A lot of people think, well, I just want to be a voice actor. I don't want to go through all that other stuff. Okay. One reason that I and Steve Bloom and Steve Kramer and Mary Elizabeth McGlynn and Wendy Lee and all of us can do these things is because we have a background as trained actors. You do not walk into a room, stand in front of a microphone and suddenly be able to do this wonderfully. You need to be grounded as an actor. You need the training, you need the time, and you need the years. I've done Shakespeare. I sang for 4 years in the San Diego Opera Company. I've done tons of improv. Handled probably 23 languages. Again, as a linguist and all that other stuff, it helps. But okay, having been a jerk, the way I'm supposed to be, so that people don't later on tell me, well, you didn't say to me it was so hard. Okay, well, it is. First of all, you need to ground yourself and learn the technique. Take the classes, take the workshops. Improv, incredibly important. But any chance you have to get on stage and perform, do it. There is no replacement for that. Having a theater background is essential. Now, I do know actors who have never been on a stage before and, you know, quote unquote, grew up as film and TV actors. Two of us, 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 two of us. So the important thing there is that you create that grounding. You have the craft within you. Someone comes to me and they have a role, I need to step into there, and I need to bring the human being. I need to bring the emotion. I need to be able to do what the character is going to do on stage. It's probably about 3 years, I think a little before the pandemic, where I was playing a character in a Netflix series who's a master mathematician. The kind of brilliant guy that actually created a digit, a new digit for arithmetic. And over the course of the story, he is slowly losing his faculties. He's becoming demented. And at one point starts to cry. And you start to see this brilliant man slowly fall apart over the story. Now, you don't just step in front of a microphone and say, I can do this. No, you need to bring the guts, you need to bring the heart, you need to bring the soul. And you aren't going to be able to utilize the things that I just listed for you unless you have the craft for it. So if you have the speech technique and all that. Now, having said that, if you need to act, you will. It is a need. If you just want to, like if people say, hey, voiceover sounds like fun, why don't I try it, you know? 96% of people that set out give up, and for good reason. It's one of the most difficult styles of acting that you can possibly imagine. You have to do so much, and you're alone in a room with a microphone in front of you. And somebody says, all right, your character has not seen his brother for 25 years because of a family argument. This is the first time you're together, and you're both going to cry your eyes out. Guess who has to cry his eyes out in the booth by himself in front of a microphone? You don't just do that by saying, okay, I'll just be emotional suddenly. You have to be able to be in touch with that. A certain number of years helps also. given my time on this earth and the things I've gone through, I have a lot to draw upon, all right? So I can bring that too. That doesn't mean somebody young can't do this sort of thing, but having that life experience, having the mileage, you might say, on you helps a lot. If that is your goal, if you really do want to break in and be the voice actor, be the actor first. Then the bad news is you probably can't do voiceover acting. I'm not talking about how special and amazing I am. No, the trouble is, to be a voice actor, you have to have a very peculiar, very strange, almost bizarre combination of skills and be able to use them effectively while acting, while bringing a character to life. I was mentioning to somebody earlier, I will go into a session and sometimes I have to speak a different language. I'm still bringing in the human being, okay? The human being who in this case speaks French or Zulu, which is a language I've used. These are all things you need to bring as a crafted actor, and then you put those on top of them. But again, if you need to do it, you will. I can't not do it. It would break my heart if I just stopped. So as rough as things have been over my life and my career, I've always hung on to the need to do that. And the important thing to find out with anything you do in your life, if it feeds your heart and feeds your spirit and feeds your soul, then it's good for you. If it doesn't do those things, that's where you burn out. But yeah, I can't stop. One of my friends, my Shakespearean friend, said it beautifully. It's a sickness.
And you're down with it. And you're down. We got another question from the audience?
Go ahead.
Who's been your favorite other voice actor to work with besides yourself? Was Damatsu to argue with? Arch rival?
My favorite voice actor to argue with?
No, how Zetsu always argues with themselves, the white and black Zetsu. They just have a rivalry, they're constantly bickering.
How was it? So in the sense, were you taking care of white Zetsu and black Zetsu? Were you doing voices for white Zetsu and black Zetsu? Because they both speak in the series. They both talk. White Zetsu at one point talks towards the Great Ninja War. Black Zetsu always talks.
Okay, so the question is, have I done more than Xemnas?
No, who's been your other, who do you think is your other voice actor that you always paired up with and you guys just constantly just randomly end up together?
So I'm guessing in the sense, who have you worked with that you do a scene together? And how is the activity in the room if you're together, or are you doing it separate?
We never work together. There's not a voice actor that I get to stand across or sit across from and work together in a session.
So with Zetsu, you're just arguing with yourself?
We're always alone. Remember what I said, it's you and a microphone. So I don't get to, for instance, people ask me with Cowboy Bebop, what was it like working with Steve Bloom? Well, I wouldn't work with Steve Bloom anyway, because my character was on the TV and they were watching me, so I didn't have any scenes with him. But we walk in alone and we work that. Sometimes you are the first one to record, so you are acting with silence. You're speaking your lines as though you're holding a dialogue with someone. But you are acting by yourself as though you're talking to someone else. Leaving us, leaving us, leaving us. I like the back of the doors.
And then that goes to show how intense it is to be a voice actor. And reason why actor is on there, because you have to get, I'm sure, in the physical ability to bust out a cry, to bust out a belch, a scream, if you're full of anger, if you really are hating somebody.
Yeah, they have to believe it. We have to do it in such a way that they believe it, even though there's nobody standing there. Now, there are rare exceptions. When I did an expansion of Medal of Honor, which was called Spearhead. This was so weird. We got to have 5 other actors in the room with me, and we were saying these lines. And there's another one I did where I played, I think the character was Dr. Reichwein, and the game, oh, the name escapes me because I played two German doctors in two different things, so it runs across. But it was a video game. In this particular, what's that?
Wolfenstein?
No, it wasn't Wolfenstein, sorry. Wolfenstein would have been nice. Oh, dang. I'll think of it probably at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. But I'll wake up and go, that guy!
Oh, now I'm not gonna see that guy.
But they actually had 4 or 5 of us in the room, and this time it wasn't just yelling the lines to each other. We were actually interacting in a scene. And it was fantastic. I'm looking right at the guy, and we're saying the stuff back and forth. And then the next time you run it, you do it a different way. You do a different performance. And this is all available because you're working with other people. When I'm doing it, and it's my interpretation, and they're recording it, that's what they're going to play to somebody else, or somebody else records, that's what I'm going to hear, and I'm going to work off of that. But sadly, no, I don't get to sit across somebody or stand with someone in the booth and work with them, because that's where the magic really happens. It's magical what we do because we're working alone, but if I listen to an actor deliver a line a certain way, it might make me do it differently than I normally would.
Makes you resonate.
That moved me, you know. Yes, my son.
I asked you earlier, how do you get to do the voice for Kurama?
Yes, he saw me out at my table and I asked him and he remembered. Okay, first of all, everyone, do not try this at home. I am a professional. That's a joke, but it isn't.
You will strain your voice.
Don't do this. You will hurt yourself. I know how to do it because remember what I said, being a linguist, a speech teacher, and a singer, and all this stuff. I know how to get away with stuff, all right? So, this is the way you do the voice of Kurama. And again, don't try it. Everybody does it wrong and goes, ow! Yeah, don't, okay?
So I am Kurama, the nine-tailed demon fox from Naruto Shippuden, and Boruto.
Now, just for fun, I'm going to throw it out to you. What do you hear? What am I doing? What's that?
What's up? What do we get in the back of the audience?
Sounds like you're belching. Like you're burping.
Sounds like a belch. It's, in a way, it's kind of related to that.
3 of us, 3 of us, 3 of us, 3 of us.
He's getting into it. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Do sit down, please. And also join us the next time people come in. You add it to with us.
3 of us, 1 of us.
The alternative is goes, where the hell have you been? You know, so I'd rather say, I would rather say 3 of us, 3 of us. Okay, what I am doing, these are your vocal cords. This is the way they're supposed to vibrate. Anybody play any stringed instrument? You ever play guitar? You pluck one string and you see another one move? Yeah, but that's resonating, okay? The two resonate together. This is what your vocal cords are supposed to be doing, resonating free of each other. This is what I'm doing.
I am Kurama, the nine-tailed demon fox.
Don't do that. It's bad for your voice. How do I get away with it for 4 and 5 hours at a time and still have a voice left over? I learned a long time ago how to breathe through that, which is why I sound the way I do. This is what people usually do. You know,
And
like
then
those,
you sound like a grunt from
like those guys on the heavy metal rock singers. They can do that.
Lorna Shore.
They will do that for the day that they're working, but they can't do it afterwards, okay? Axl Rose blew his voice out performance after performance. All that stuff was not a good voice. He didn't know how to do it and get away with it.
Maynard.
So what I do is breathe through that sound.
I am in fact kind of scraping the vocal cords together, but you hear the wind, you hear the sound. the actual breath coming through it.
That's how I'm getting away with that. But do not try this at home, you will hurt yourself. I can do this 4 and 5 hours at a time and still be okay. I like to take a day off in between doing that.
That's very impressive.
It's smart to do that, but that's how I do the voice of Kurama, the nine-tailed demon fox.
And there you have it, a step-by-step lesson. Once again, guys, do not do that at home.
Thank you. I just, it has to be reinforced.
Because it will strain your voice, like he said, metal bends and everything. And he's a singer, so I'm sure he definitely knows about vocal cords, windpipes, and everything that you have to involve.
There's a way to do it and a way to get away with it. Again, it's not good for your voice. You shouldn't do it all anyway. I do know how to do it for hours, get away with it, and not hurt myself. But I tell people again and again, just don't. Leave it to me. I'm the guy that does it, you know. Otherwise, you'll get people, and it's a horrific thing. I've been to workshops where they show pictures of the vocal folds, and I've seen a damaged vocal cord, a vocal fold. It had a blood blister on it, like this big around, and the person had to stop talking for a month. Literally, stop talking. So don't do that to yourself, please.
We have the last question right here for you guys.
Are we getting close to already?
We are winding down.
Oh,
As Mr. Number One from the organization, other than Xemnas, what other members of the organization do you like? Like, who's your favorite organization member? Guys.
oh,
That is a very good answer.
It's
That's
the-
a very good question.
it's the eye patch and the attitude, Zigbar.
Yeah.
Yeah, the eye patch and the attitude, Zigbar, man, across the board. Everybody's got their certain charm and their certain attraction, things that you like about them. But there's something about Zigbar and just the way he smirks all the time and the look on his face and his eye. I love that stuff.
So now, while we're winding down and wrapping it up already, as for the last thing, any good words, any advice to the audience for being here and enjoy their time here with you?
Well, first of all, always have a good time wherever you are. Also keep in mind, and this is a life advice, as though I'm qualified.
But you're Kurama, why wouldn't it be?
Well, I'm cool, yes, of course. That goes without saying. Spock. Scotty. Spock. I'm cool. I do like to impart a little wisdom just because I've been around a long time. Keep in mind that you are responsible for who you are and what you do. Don't blame anyone. Keep in mind also that you are your own master. That whatever happens in your life is your responsibility and it is under your power to make things better. Like I say, don't blame anybody. Keep in mind that you always have another chance. Keep in mind that when you wake up in the morning, it's 0 to 0. The game is starting over today. Yesterday doesn't matter, tomorrow's not here yet. You get to start all over again. And it's your responsibility to make everything a win. You know, I don't get cast in most of the things for which I audition. That's the way it is. They'll choose other people for various different reasons. Yeah, I'm good at what I do. I do a lot of things very, very well, and there might be somebody better. Maybe I did the best audition, but they liked somebody else's voice better. Unique. But how do I make that a win? I make that a win by remembering that I was in the game to begin with. That's a win. I was called upon because somebody was impressed by what I did. That's a win. It's up to you to make it a win every time. By the way, bring the fun with you. Don't expect to go someplace and be entertained. It's your job. You bring the fun with you. I remember a guy gave a perfect example. He used to say, I would get myself invited to 4 or 5 different parties on New Year's Eve. If I didn't like it at one place, I could go to another one. He was expecting to find one party that would take care of him. And in fact, your responsibility is to bring the good time with you. You do that. And see, when I'm saying that it's your responsibility, that's the good news. Because you're in charge. Remember, you are bigger than your problems. Every one of them. Mostly because you created them. Do you ever pay your credit card down to 0? I have 6 credit cards at 0 right now. I'm very responsible. I paid my house off, paid my car off, all this stuff, right? You know what's gonna happen? How about you know what? I'm creating my problems again, okay? But I did them. They are mine. That's the good news. You're in charge.
From the wise words of Saint Peter, everybody, thank you so much for being here. I am Wembley Toast, your Q&A panel.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everybody, for having me.